How many people in this room have ever done any project management work? Anybody? Yeah, just about everybody. So what that means is that if you can manage a project at work in your job, a project of any type, then you can absolutely positively manage a project which is called job search. So job search is a process, it's a thinking modality, but it is also a project that has a beginning and a middle and an end. It has mileposts, it has deliverables, it has expectations, it has deadlines. Just like when you were managing projects at your job. So what amazes me, and it's kind of sad, is that I'll have a client who is an excellent project manager from the job they used to do, and then they can't do this. It's like as soon as they out of a job, they step out of the job, now suddenly they go brain dead. It's a shame, and I have a lot of empathy, but it's also kind of ironic and strange, don't you think? Because you're still the same person, you still have the same smarts, you still have the same experience, then why is it that when you step out of the job, all of a sudden you can't put one foot in front of the other? Well, look, I understand there's all kinds of emotional issues and identity issues, I understand all that. But by having a system to follow, you can break through those barriers and produce far better results. So there's essentially 3 steps to this process, if you will. You start with self-discovery, you move on to planning and preparation, and then you move into implementation. It's very, very simple. But within those categories, within those phases, you have a lot of different things you have to take care of. So for example, in the first step, we go inside before we go outside. I want to explain what that means. Job search is an inside game, especially when the market is really bad. You've got to look in here and improve your thinking and improve your self-knowledge, your ability to articulate your value, your ability to differentiate yourself from other candidates. You have to really boost your internal process if you hope to get an external result. So the first phase is a lot about preliminary exercises, career assessments, also things like gaining clarity on your situation, defining your career assets. You know, it's all kind of internal. It's all introspective or reflective, right down to recognizing new opportunities for your own development internally. So when people lose a job on a Friday afternoon, the worst thing they can do is start sending out resumes on a Saturday morning. There's this knee-jerk reaction, right? This kind of like, oh my God, I'm in a panic, I have to send out my resumes, I gotta get a job by tomorrow. Well, please folks, don't do that. You've gotta stop and pause and take a breath and take stock of where you are and just regroup, okay? It's a little bit like if you were dating someone and you had this hot and heavy relationship and then they break up with you and the thing is dead and over, you know, do you go right out the next morning and start dating somebody else hot and, well, you probably do, actually. I can tell by your faces. So you don't want to do that. Now, the next phase is to get real, sort of settle down and get practical. Now we're going to talk about planning and preparation. So you start thinking about, okay, now that I know what I'm all about, now that I have a sense of where I am and I've done my reflective exercises and my introspection, I've done some assessments, I've really thought about where I've been and where I am and where I want to go. Now the next step is, what's next? What do I really want to do next? What's a good fit for my next career step? So we'll start talking about your preferences, your ideal outcomes. We're going to research realistic career paths, explore the job market and potential roles that you could fulfill, begin to develop what I call your job seeker's toolkit, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. Think of it as a portfolio, essentially, a portfolio of self-marketing tools and documents that you'll need to sell yourself in the world of work. We're going to move then down to your contact list, a list of targeted companies that you're interested in. It's really quite a lot of preparation. Can you see that? You have to really do your homework. It's like everything else. If you want to be successful, you have to be smarter and work harder than anybody else. So, you want to differentiate yourself from the candidates? You got to work smarter and harder than everybody else. There's no two ways about that. Next is the implementation. So this is where your feet meet the street. This is where you actually get out there and start looking for the job. So you'll be doing things like networking, interviewing, negotiating, talking to recruiters and headhunters, maybe going to job fairs or professional conferences. You see what I'm saying is that the third phase is very public. It's out there in the world, whereas phases 1 and 2 are private or internal. just between you and yourself, or just between you and a career coach, or whoever is working with you on this. So please try to think of it in these 3 steps, in this order. Don't start at step number 3. Okay? All right, let's move on. I want to talk to you about attitude. And attitude is everything. One of my favorite comments is, attitude is everything. I said earlier that job search is an inside game, right? I said that what matters most is how you're thinking. You want better results? Learn how to think better. When people come to me and they say, Ford, I can't get a job, job market sucks. How long have you been looking? Oh, 1.5 years. I can't find a job, it's terrible. You know what I say to them? What do I say to them? Change your attitude and change your thinking and you'll get a lot better results. Thank you. Now, that sounds pretty harsh, right? I'm a pretty tough guy. But look, it's the truth. It's the truth. You all are highly qualified. You all are top-notch professionals. You know, you're just as smart as you were when you had the job if you're unemployed currently. You're the same person with the same qualities, the same education, the same experiences. But if the attitude is terrible, then the employer can smell it a mile away.